we are at another Friday, though.
I
Yeah.
know. Yay. And I'm slightly off my face as well, which is great.
Oh, look, we should get some gold out of you today then.
Oh, hell yeah. That's
Well,
just for
yeah.
anyone listening, if this recording ever got out, it's just because of painkillers.
I know, poor darling. It's okay though. Look at you still showing up, right? You show up, you get it
Oh,
done.
1,000,000%.
And because you wouldn't want to miss this vital time with me.
Oh my God, right?
So I had been,
So,
I had a thought about what I would like to talk to you about today.
was it lonely, the thought?
Oh no, there's a whole freaking committee in my head, honey. My itty bitty shitty committee, going hard. However, when I do get one of those really big pop thoughts, sometimes I just don't even know what it is. I think, holy shit, where'd that come from? Because you
Oh
only
my
get
God,
them
I
every
actually
now
know
and
what I'm talking about.
So yes, I had a thought, and I'm going to need a moment in this time for myself. Okay, recovering from said moment. That aside, I'm dribbling now. What I wanted to talk about is because we have talked already quite a bit about what we do and the trainings that we offer, the certifications we offer, and that and both of us also offer and have current one-on-one coaching clients, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, let's address a bit of an elephant in the universal room and talk about what's the difference between so the ones I was going to address is psychiatry, psychology, counselling, mentoring, and coaching.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's just take, what is it? The velvet curtain, lift the veil. I don't know. I've got so many metaphors happening. I'm lost in my own metaphors. Let's just break it wide open and talk very candidly, as we do on Automatic Mouth, about what all those things are, according to us, anyhow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you and I, we're word junkies, linguistic junkies. So we do tend to look up, dictionary meanings and all that sort of stuff as well. So if we start the first one I mentioned, psychiatry, right?
Yeah.
Psychiatry is a branch of medicine. So in order to be a psychiatrist, you have to have completed medical school and then also gone on to do a specialist in mental illness. So psychiatry is a doctor who diagnoses and treats mental illness. So the only people who can what's the word? Suggest you go on, certain medications and things like that.
Yeah.
Tend to be psychiatrists, don't they? I mean, I think regular doctors, are becoming more involved in that with the amount of depression and anxiety that they see come through their doors.
Yeah.
However, I think even to get through a normal doctor, a GP, to get medication for mental illness, I believe you still have to have some sort of mental health plan and go and, see a mental health professional in order to be monitored and like. So anything you want to add to that, or is that pretty straightforward, do you think, psychiatry?
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's I think, because things have advanced so much now.
Mm.
So I think the current take on mental health and therapies to help these kinds of things is very different to when psychotherapy and psychology was born, the Freudian, Jungian, this from, what, 100, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, I always think of it like a counselor or a mentor or someone like that might help someone deal with something that's happening short term, like a short term challenge. whereas like psychotherapy and psychiatry is probably a little bit deeper. But I mean, we know with NLP, for example, we can still help somebody have profound change at that deep core level using timeline therapy and all the therapies,
Mm.
um, to get that deep, long lasting change. Ultimately, it always comes down to the fact that someone's also got to do the work.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. That was psychiatry. So moving on then to psychology. Psychology is a study of the human mind. So a psychologist, it's not part of their job, so to speak, to diagnose and treat as such a mental illness. They basically, it's the study of the human mind. However, just like you were saying, Adam, psychology has advanced so much that, it used to be psychology was very much just talk therapy.
Mm.
And it's advanced now, and there's so much more action involved in psychology, and they're adopting a lot more modalities like CBT, like hypnotherapy, like EMDR. So they're bringing in a lot more action into the field of psychology, which is really cool as well. However, what I would, in my model of the world anyway, psychology is again a long-term solution.
Yeah.
I don't really know anyone, myself included at the time, who goes to a psychologist for, say once a week for 4 weeks and like, yay, okay, everything's good now, bye now.
Yeah.
Because they're dealing with things that are at such a deep level, and there's a limit to what actions they can take. And as you said, it's also dependent on the client taking the action in between sessions as well.
Absolutely.
That it can be quite a long relationship, can't it, with a psychologist for years.
Yeah.
So that's psychology. The next one that I've written that comes under that talk therapy banner, I believe as well, is counselling. And so counselling, in a dictionary sort of term, is considered the assistance in the resolution of personal difficulties. So I think counselling really does fall into what we call talk therapy. You go to a counsellor to vent, to offload, to get some clarity, to get some stuff out of your mind and out into the open, don't you?
Yeah. It's sort of triggered by an external event. Like psychology is kind of internal events.
Yeah.
And sort of, counselling strikes me, well, certainly in my model of the world, my understanding, as, things that trigger a certain scenario.
Yeah, I love that.
External,
I hadn't thought of that, Adam, and that's really cool. I love that. Yeah. I can see counselling being, like you said, something external happens. And so you go and seek some counselling. And it's offered, isn't it? When a trauma happens, it's freely kind of offered by people in the helping fields, whether it be doctors or first responders or someone in your workplace. Something bad happens. Say, look, why don't you go and grab some counselling? Here's some names. It's offered as a
let's
quick response.
let's help you process what happened. Because it's a shock, isn't it? It's a shock to the system.
So it's almost like counselling is, in this respect anyway, like we're talking about it, is that initial kind of shock support, perhaps.
Yeah.
You have someone that you can talk through, holy crap, what's just happened?
Yes.
I need to work out and process what's just happened. And
so
a lot of counselling, and that makes so much more sense to me now that you've said that, Adam. Initially, I had heard, because I think we've both done counselling courses, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
And it was explained to me that a skill in counselling is being able to parrot You need to be able to listen to what the client is saying and be able to repeat it back to them in their words, because that's what helps them gain clarity, hearing out aloud their thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I'd always thought, well, geez, what's the use of that? I don't really understand the point of just repeating back to them what they're saying. And now it makes sense to me. Now that you've pointed that out to me, it makes sense in the context of unloading and processing something that sort of just happened.
Yeah.
And you're not clear on what has happened. So
Yeah.
it is that surface level shock, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I did some counsellor training, what now feels like 1,000 years ago, back in the UK,
Yeah.
and worked with a guy, and Steve, his name was, and he said the main thing to remember is nobody's ever broken.
Mm.
Everybody always knows the answers to their own queries, questions. They always know. They just don't think they do.
Mm.
He said, so it's the job in the counselor session to, like you said, help that person reflect on, because they will come to the conclusion they need to anyway.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that sticks.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, cool. So then let's talk about mentoring.
Yeah,
I've had this come up quite a bit with people asking, okay, well, coaching just sounds like mentoring. Like, aren't they the same thing? And
very different.
everything only has the meaning you give it, right? So if someone believes they're the same thing, hey, that's in your world, go for it. That's your belief. In my world, though, and this is why I wanted to find out in your world as well. So a mentor, by definition, is actually a trusted and wise counselor. So I see a mentor as being someone that you go to with, again, a more immediate kind of problem. I'm having an issue with this. What's your thoughts? And you want them to, just like a counselor, I guess, help you just gain some clarity on what you already know. And often a mentor is helpful in those situations because they've been through whatever you're seeking their advice on.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. So in my understanding, mentor, so I've been mentoring a lady recently on setting up a business. I've done that many times.
Yeah.
So I'm as a mentor imparting my skills and knowledge in that particular subject in how to get her to do the same thing. Whereas a coach is, if I was coaching her, then I'd be providing guidance on how she can reach her goals. So it doesn't matter what the goal is, it's just an expertise in how to reach goals. So I'm not necessarily imparting knowledge on, the specific thing, but certainly coaching her to get to the goal anyway, because the process of hitting a goal is a process of hitting the goal, regardless of what the goal is. Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I feel like coaching is the culmination and finding, walking that tightrope in a way, but in a beautiful way, of, mentoring and psychology, because you are wanting to be a bit of a tour guide and help with your own knowledge to guide them to come to their own conclusions, to discover their own solutions and strengths and what they're capable of. So we're simply, as a coach, we use the knowledge we've gained through our life experience and also from, what we've learned through our own certifications and whatnot, to help other people do the same. Come out of what, like you said, doesn't matter what the goal is. We're simply a coach is a tour guide that has a very specific sort of set of tools.
Yeah, because I mean, like, for example, you can get sports coaches.
Mm.
You know, you can get a tennis coach that's not been a professional tennis player,
Yeah.
but still coach a world-class tennis champion. You know,
Yeah.
that would be a coach. Whereas if Roger Federer was going to be doing that particular role, then he'd be more of a mentor because he's done it. He's won the tournaments. Do you know what I mean? So he's mentoring in his skill and prowess and what he's already achieved.
I think a good coach is one who understands and intuitively knows when to fulfill those different roles. When does the problem that's presented call for a more mentoring guidance and leadership? And when does the problem that's presenting require more of a questioning, coaching, helping that person find their own way? You know,
Yes.
there's the two ways, I think, in the mentoring lane, you tend to say, okay, well, this is the way I went. This
Yeah.
worked for me. Why don't you give it a go? Let's see what happens.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I used to teach people how to trade the financial markets, and still do sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
so I'd be a trader mentor because I've done it,
Yeah.
versus being a trader coach. Is
Yeah.
that be a trader mentor? Do you know what I mean?
That's right. Well, if I can use that as an example with my limited knowledge, Adam, so please, no judgment,
All right.
darling.
No.
But I'd like to use that as an example. So say you have someone come to you and you're working with them and they want to learn how to trade.
Yeah.
So initially you might take on or wear the mentoring cap, I suppose, or go down the mentoring lane, because you're going to show them the ins and outs of how, so that they understand what they're doing.
Yes.
And, you know, the right tools, what pitfalls to avoid, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then that person comes to you for the next session and says, oh, it's going really great. But you know what? I keep getting scared. I just feel like I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
then
flip
coaching.
into coaching. Yeah, because now that's very internal and it's about their belief system, isn't it? It's not
Yes.
about the tangible process of trading.
Yes.
It's about their beliefs and their internal processes. And so knowing when to flip, I suppose, and draw out and question and work on their belief system as opposed to the process that's external. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Work on their identity. You know, I
Yeah.
used to say to people come, you know, if they were a plumber, I was like, well, it's time, you know, are you a plumber or a trader? You know, are you a plumber that trades? Well, that's not a trader. You'd be a trader
Yeah.
that knows how to plumb.
That,
If you,
I would say that's you.
well, yes, I'm a very good plumber.
Oh, that's totally off topic. Totally off.
Totally off topic as usual.
However, though, as usual, identity is a massive thing.
It's
And
all about that.
I think a mentor can only assist with identity to a certain degree, because obviously you can model a mentor, can't you? You sort of follow in their footsteps and
Yes.
model what they've done that's worked.
Yes. Pardon me.
However, when it comes to those beliefs that's holding them back, those limiting thoughts and beliefs,
Yes.
that requires a coach who understands how to ask those quality questions that
Yes.
leads the person to dig deeper and you know, that soul searching kind of,
Yeah. I
oh,
sure do.
I didn't want to go there, I don't want to talk about it. Well, you know what, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Just like a sports coach, a personal development coach is about not being your best friend in that moment. They're not
Oh,
there
yeah.
to listen to your excuses and champion, you know, you giving up and being a victim. Their job as your personal development coach is to push you to uncover the crap that you refuse to look at because it hurts.
Yeah.
And that's just like a sports coach. That's their job. They get in there and they push you to be the best version of yourself. And then the mentor can kick back in and go, right, now that we got that shit sorted, here's a few things we're going to do and get on track, you know? So I love the idea of a really good coach and or mentor who knows how to incorporate both of those roles and understand that they do have different strengths. Yeah.
They really do. Yeah. Big time. I think this is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So
good subject.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah. And I like to intertwine this with what you brought up just before. You brought up identity.
Mm.
And I found this subject was something that tripped up. And just like you were talking about the plumber trader, you know, obviously we've both worked with people as well who have gone through their own personal development. So with us as their coach, and then they've decided they want to get certified and help others to do the same.
Yeah.
And I've had people who have said, oh, I think I'm more of a mentor. I don't actually think I'm a coach. I think I'm a mentor. And so this comes down to identity and still, well, what do you believe about yourself and what do you believe you can help others do?
Yeah.
The ones who are, I would say, scared perhaps to own a coaching identity, the ones who felt more confident in saying, okay, well, I've done this, so can you just go and do it and see what happens? Whereas a coach has got to be prepared to, you know, get it thrown back in their face.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that scares a lot of people, doesn't it? So I think understanding the role that each of these that we've talked about today, because they are all important.
They are.
There's a place for all of them. There's a reason that we have psychiatry, psychology, counselling. They are all needed, 100%. However, I would say that when you are looking for help, know what you are prepared to do and what you're looking for, and be working with someone who's very confident in their identity within that field.
Yes.
That's what I think is important, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, just talking about people being mentors and coaches, I mean, I remember the first time somebody said to me, well, you know, yeah, you can coach me, but what if I end up better than you?
Oh.
And I went, please do. Like, please, like, first of all, I was like, if you think you can, go for it.
Yeah.
You know, but then I just sat back and started thinking about that. I was like, well, how great is that? Like, yeah, I mean, great. I've been a great trader, you know, and still in the game.
Yeah.
But it's I want someone to do better than me, because that's also what a fantastic accolade.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So you would never coach or mentor someone to be the same as you. Well,
Exactly.
you would hope, you know, like, and you'd hope that that's a good thing, first of all.
Yeah.
But you really want to coach and mentor someone to be better than you know, because you want people to achieve their fullest potential, you know.
Yeah. Even, you know, I've said this in quite a number of my courses when I run them, our training courses. And I say, you know, if people walk away from our trainings and all they can think about is, oh, you know, Alison and Adam, they were amazing. They're so good at what they do. They're brilliant. They're fantastic. If they walk away and they're saying those things, then I haven't done my job.
Yeah.
What I want them to walk away from our trainings thinking and saying, wow, I could do anything now. I'm unstoppable now. I'm excited. I can't wait to sink my teeth into XYZ.
100% with you. Yeah.
Coach's job is, like you said, it's not to make them the same as you, or in my own words anyway, not even better than you. It's to make them the best version of themselves.
Yeah. And wherever that ends up is perfect.
If we have people who do our training courses and they go on to teach you know, the neurology code to other people, and they are a better trainer than me, you sure as shit better believe I'll go and sit in their classroom then, and I'll be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, teach me. What do you got?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I taught a guy from scratch how to trade, and the last thing I heard, I mean, this is going back like easily 10 years ago now. The
Mm.
last thing I heard is he's managing multi-billion dollars for Citibank,
Wow.
which is way better than I did.
And
And
yeah,
I'm like, fucking brilliant. Go for it, mate. Like, yes.
you taught him how to tap into his infinite potential, you know?
Yeah. So,
Mm.
actually I should try and find where he is now. But yeah, I was just like, yes, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. That's what we do this for. And that's what I mean also about when, you know, anyone listening, when you are looking for someone to coach you, mentor you, is, you know, you have the right to find out your coach slash mentor's intentions as well.
Yes.
What do they want out of this arrangement? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like you just said, and like we've talked about, what we want anyway, you and I, when we coach, when we train, we want people to walk away totally enamored with themselves and the power that they
Themselves.
have and
Yeah.
what they're capable of. Yeah, throw a few thanks our way. That's always nice for the ego. Oh, you're awesome. Like, thanks. However, we want them to be focused then on what they can do and then
Yeah.
share their wins with us, you know?
Oh yeah. I always think the biggest and best thanks is to see them in 5 years' time, and they've gone way beyond, where they were when we left them. And that's
Yeah.
that's that's thanks enough.
Yes. Oh, that's the other thing, actually. I didn't mention it before. So I'll just pop it in here. Pop it in.
Mhm.
That's the other thing I find with coaching as well. That, you know, how we mentioned that psychology, that relationship tends to be quite a long relationship because it takes a long time in talk therapy to get to the root cause of things. Since I moved into coaching, I have found the relationships, as in therapy, are shorter
Yeah.
because it's quite intensive. It's getting to the root cause quicker with those quality questions. And, you know, you can work with someone for sort of 6 to 12 weeks and make massive impacts in their
Yeah.
life, their belief system, in their values. It can completely change their life and turn it around. So then a lot of the after effects, I guess, of them redesigning themselves and learning about themselves, those after effects, we don't always hear about them until we catch up with them 6-12 months down the track and they're absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, brilliant.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think my longest standing lady at the moment, I think we're just coming up to a year.
Yeah.
And by the time we finish, we'll be just over a year. But the difference is, I said to her the other day, she was telling me about something to do with her mum, and who's sort of elderly, and I sat there with a massive smile on my face, and I just sort of let her just stop talking eventually, and then I said, can you just pause for a second and just compare everything you just said to me, and how you just dealt with this current situation, and how you may have dealt with that only even 6 months ago.
Mm.
And she was like, oh my God, you're right. And I said, yeah, like, you need to give yourself a huge pat on the back. Like, she said, oh my God, I hadn't thought about it like that. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's so rewarding.
It's just amazing. I find with coaching, the reflection process changes, you know, up until coaching, and, you know, up until coaching, I found that looking back was always a negative experience. You know, it was looking back to get lost in things I should have done differently or could have done better or made better decisions. It was always looking back with regret, I guess.
Yeah.
And then once I had a coach myself and went through this whole process myself, and then I became a coach. Reflection for me is about looking back to see how far you've come.
Yes.
And so even, our SciFlow program is 12 weeks long. At the 6-week mark, I specifically do, and very intentionally, do a recap of the things that they had said to me in week 1 in our first session. I'll go over things that they believed, that they said, that they felt. And then we look at 6 weeks where you are now, and the amount of every single person without fail says exactly what your friend did. Like, wow. Oh, wow. I cannot believe that that's what I thought. It's a complete shift, isn't it?
Complete shift.
And 6 weeks, like, it just blows my mind. I love this work so much. And I could talk about it for hours.
Me too.
We don't have that long. So yeah, I guess that's why I wanted to really pull this apart a little bit today. And again, just reiterating, it's not saying that either method is preferential or the better or better for any person. There is no right or wrong, good or bad. There just is. And it's wonderful that we live in a society where there are multiple options available to people now. So find the one that fits you, find the one that you're prepared to commit to, and ensure that the person you're going to is committed to you also, with whatever way that looks, whether you go to a coach, a mentor, a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that there is so much available to help with mental health and growth.
Big time. So needed in the current world.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that was brilliant. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Picking good subjects.
Great subject. And I will say before we finish up here, I'm really looking forward to, I'm just going to drop it here. Adam and I are going to be doing a series coming up on relationships. So we're going to break that down into, language and mindset and coping strategies and our own experiences as well from our own past in regards to parental relationships, partners, etc., role models, all those sorts of things. So that's going to be a really cool series coming up as well.
Beautiful.
There's the drugs kicking in. I'm awake. It's going to be beautiful. All right, guys. Thanks for listening in. Excited to see you guys next Friday.
See you
Talk
next
soon.
week.
Bye.
Bye.